2014. Well, as I think you can see from the attendance at tonight's meeting, it is a makeup from the second Thursday of this month. And we do appreciate those that are here. It's rare, I guess, that we have our council and staff and the news media to outnumber those in the audience, so that's the case tonight. As a normal course in our meetings, we actually call the roll by introducing the members of our council. I'm Dan Pugh, the mayor. To my immediate right is our Mayor Pro Tem, Sandra Mock, followed by Councilman Ed Smith and Councilman Jeff Zinger. To my left is Councilman Robert Green, Councilman Mike Horn, and Councilman Dr. Ken Sadler. Our staff with us tonight is our town manager, Mr. Hank Perkins, our town attorney, Mr. Bo Howe. We have Mr. Marty Myers in the back is our town planner, and then we have Ms. Joyce Walker, our town clerk, Ms. Kathy Bruce, our assistant town manager, and our finance director. So with that, we start tonight's meeting with adopting the agenda. There are copies at the rear table there in the chambers if anyone doesn't have a copy and wants to follow along. I think the only changes since our briefing session was the addition of a closed session at the end of the last business. I think all have been notified of that also. So if there's any questions or concerns about the agenda, I'll do that now from council. Not entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
Make a motion to adopt.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we do have an agenda. We'll ask our manager to lead us through the consent agenda.
Thank you. Tonight, the consent agenda consists of 5 items. The first is Resolution 2014007 for the acceptance and approval of monthly financials for December 2013. The second is the approval of council briefing and action minutes from January 2nd, 2014. Third item is the approval of council retiring council meeting minutes for January 9th, 2014. Fourth is the approval of the special meeting minutes for January 16th, 2014. And lastly, the approval of closed session minutes from January 2nd, 2014.
Council, do you have any questions of the manager on any of the items that are included in the consent agenda? No, what's your pleasure?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Have a second.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, but like sign. Okay, the consent agenda does pass. Next item.
Okay, the next is section is presentations, introductions, and proclamations. There are none for this evening. Brings us to public forum.
Okay. I did fail to mention in the introduction and the opening of the meeting that, well, did mention that Ms. Hall was on the recording, video recorder, but the meeting is being recorded for playback on Government Channel 6, and we welcome the Lewisville citizens that are watching and participating for that method. Brings us to our first of 2 opportunities in tonight's and each and every meeting that we have for the public to participate in our meetings. We ask that if there's anyone that wishes to speak to council on any subject, it could be something that's on tonight's agenda or something that isn't, to come forward and state your name, your address, and limit the comments to 3 minutes if possible. We are here to hear and would not enter into discussion of any of the items that might be brought forward to us at this time. Is there anyone that would like to address council? Okay. Having no takers, we will close the public forum. We do have written, forms available for written comments. Choose that method. We'll go to the next item.
The next items are purchases and contracts. There are none on the agenda for this evening. Brings us to board and committee appointments. There are none for this evening as well. Moving on to old business. There is no old business on the agenda for this evening. Next section is public hearings. There are no scheduled public hearings for this evening. The next section is unfinished business. There is no unfinished business on the agenda this evening. That brings us to new business. We have Resolution 2014004, setting a public hearing to receive comments on amending the Lewisville Unified Development Ordinance, UDO L-144, Lewisville Rural Overlay, or otherwise known as the LRO.
Okay. We've discussed this several times leading up to tonight's action to be taken to set the public hearing. Does any council member have questions? We do have our planner with us, or questions to our manager concerning this item, concerning the LROs itself. All this resolution does is set the public hearing to, I guess we set it for next month.
Yes.
This resolution does set it for the 13th of March.
13th of March, okay, thank you.
The planning board is still doing some cleanup on this, as we understand it, or has that been completed?
They'll be doing cleanup if necessary.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions, discussion? Entertain a motion for this resolution.
Move approval.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the like sign. Okay, the public hearing is set for March 13th. Thank you. Next item.
The next item is A, under administrative reports. These are upcoming events at Shalford Square. Now, oddly enough, we're in February. There are no events for March to comment on. I'm going to be commenting on events in April, so you'll probably hear the same thing next month. But in April, on the 18th, Friday, of course, the town observes Good Friday. It is a town holiday. Saturday, the 26th of April, is our movie kickoff night, and that's an event at the Square. Moves us on into, well, June 3rd, we'll have our first concert. And then lastly, we will mention again that on June 9th, which is a Friday night, we will have the second of our movie nights that evening. May, I'm sorry. Should have said May instead of June. And that's it.
Well, we can count on scheduling those movie nights to break the drought. So, we have one. Is that everything on the upcoming event? Okay. All right. Go to the next item.
Yeah, next item is just a reminder, retreat dates. We are doing our retreat on Friday, February 28th, 2014. We will meet at 6 p.m. and we'll follow up the next day on March 1st, Saturday, at 8 o'clock a.m.
And that Friday evening, it does come with a meal, is that right? Okay. Meals for Saturday also.
Okay. And then item C under administrative reports, as is usually our custom, we'll report to items that were covered in our briefing meeting. And this was now, I guess, going on a week and a half ago on Thursday. The first was Resolution 2014005, authorizing a contract for 2 years of three-year contract with Gibson and Company, PA, for fiscal year 2013-2014 auditing services in the amount of $20,375, which includes $17,375 for the audit and annual financial statements, and $3,000 only if a single audit is required, and this item was approved. The next was ordinance 2014-006, amending budget ordinance 2013-013 in an amount of $5,250 to rebudget the balance due to CDM Smith contract ongoing since 2010 for the Shallowford Road Roundabout project, and that was adopted and approved as well. Third item was ordinance 2014-007, amending budget ordinance 2013-013 in an amount of $375 to renew Sonic Wall T2-105 comprehensive gateway security or firewall security for internet access for 3 years, and that was approved. The fourth item was ordinance 2014-004, amending budget ordinance 2013-013 in an amount of $7,650 to increase funds for repairs needed to broken coil and control panels in HVAC at Town Hall, and that was approved. The fifth item was the approval and amendment of roundabout agreement TIP for U-4742 KC, extending the completion date of the project till April 30th, 2015. That was approved. And the last item approved that evening was ordinance 2014-009, amending budget ordinance 2013-013 in an amount of $1,000 to pay for advertising costs for CEI for Shallowford Road Roundabout project and for advertising for bids for construction of Shallowford Road Roundabout project. And that is the entire list of what we covered.
All right.
This brings us,
I'm sorry.
yes, sir.
Oh, no, go right ahead.
Brings us to the last section for the good of the order.
All right. Once again, this is the second opportunity for citizens to address council. The ground rules are the same as before. We just ask that you come forward to the microphone, state your name and your address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Do we have anyone tonight that would like to address council? If not, we'll close the public comment portion of our meeting and remind that there are forms available for written comments, so we desire that method. Okay, that brings us to council comments on the agenda. Council, you have any comments, discussion items at this point in time? This may be a record meeting, which I'm sure is that our news media representation is not adverse to that at all. So we have on our agenda a closed session at this time, and I will ask our town attorney to state the appropriate statutes and the purpose.
As I understand it, the motion would be to go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A5 in order to establish or instruct the public body's staff or negotiating agents concerning the position to be taken by or on behalf of the public body in negotiating the price and other material terms of a contract or a proposed contract for the acquisition of real property by purchase, option, exchange, or lease. Customarily, we provide names of owners, address of the property, and the purpose for which property might be taken. In this case, disclosure of those terms at this early stage may impact and have an adverse impact upon the negotiations themselves, as there may be one or more tracts of land under consideration. However, it may be the desire of the council not to purchase all of those properties, so disclosure of that information at this early stage is not appropriate, so that would be the motion.
Okay. Before I make the motion, as stated, just want to remind the public that we are going into closed session. There will be no action taken, certainly not in the closed session, and none anticipated after we come out of closed session. So that hopefully would clarify that question or comment. I so move the motion as stated by the attorney. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Okay. We are in closed session.